I can't see how he got through that night unharmed.
Hello and welcome to the 77th Annual Golden Globe Awards.
Drinking a beer in front of Hollywood's biggest stars at an event watched by the whole world, Ricky Gervais turned into a loose cannon.
You did it, not me. You did it, so be quiet.
He wasn't sparing anyone that night. He exposed all the dirt in Hollywood, the elites, the powerful. He slammed the film industry, current movies, the companies, and especially the hypocrisy that surrounds this world. And here, more than just showing Ricky Gervais' speech, let's understand the secrets he exposed that night. Got it? Do you understand why he managed to leave so many celebrities with that pissed off look? There, obviously all of this ended up going viral and getting worldwide attention. But what few people talk about is that behind all this craziness, there's something much more frightening than it seems happened. One of the first things Ricky Gervais did when he got on stage to host the Golden Globe ceremony was to reveal that, to everyone's delight, this would be his last time hosting the awards. And when a guy who's known for crossing the line announces something like that, everyone immediately gets anxious and uncomfortable. You could clearly see by the looks on their faces that, with just a few words, he managed to make a lot of people afraid of what was coming next.
I don't care anymore.
But then, after creating all that tension in the air, he tries to lighten things up and does it in a brilliant way.
Remember, they're just jokes.
This is probably the only lie he's going to tell in his entire speech. And it's brilliant because here, he's putting himself in the role of a court jester, that old figure whose job was to entertain and make the nobility laugh. In the Middle Ages, court jesters were known for being the only ones allowed to speak ill of the king without getting their throats cut. After all, it was all just a joke, just a bit of fun. That's why many performers use this moment to voice harsh criticisms and truths that bothered people, things no one else could say. If you think about it, that's what it is. Gervais is doing just that, saying what everyone wants to say right in front of all these influential and powerful people. But instead of just talking about it, let's go straight to what he actually said.
Tonight isn't just about the people in front of the camera. In this room are some of the most important television and film executives in the world, people from every background. But they all have one thing in common. They're all terrified of Ronan Farrow. He's coming for you. He's coming for you.
Ronan Farrow is an investigative journalist who became known in 2017 for exposing decades of sexual abuse committed by powerful people. Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein, who was only reported after a long time by dozens of women for rape and sexual assault. Aggression. Do you have any advice for young?
Girl in Hollywood,
Okay, here I go, all right?
Weinstein invites you to a private party and enforces his token.
That interview, back in 2005, made it clear that everyone in Hollywood already knew what Harvey was up to for a long time. But many turned a blind eye so they wouldn't risk losing the privileges they had. And Ricky Gervais obviously didn't let that
Slide. A movie where people survive by acting like they don't see a thing, sort of like working for Harvey Weinstein.
Did it? I didn't. You did it. Shut the fuck up.
With those jokes, Ricky went way beyond just touching on a sensitive subject, because he was kind of implying that there are other Harvey Weinsteins in that room. Powerful figures who have committed and still commit atrocities, but who remain unexposed because of an entire environment that keeps their secrets in exchange for some kind of interest. It's very similar to what that movie Eyes Wide Shut shows. It has secret societies where the powerful do whatever they want and still have their identities protected there. That movie is very powerful and sheds light on hidden issues about the corruption of the elites and why they often behave that way. And that's why I even made a full 1 hour, 20-minute documentary analyzing the movie and all the parallels with real life. This is content that's available exclusively on the Warman platform. If you're interested, the trailer is in the screen corner and video description. Returning to the point, what is Eyes Wide Shut addressing? And what is Ricky Gervais suggesting in his speech, even if it sounds conspiratorial? The truth is that time has proven much of what they showed. Since 2020, for example, we've seen the Padiri case blow up, a figure with one of Hollywood's most extensive and influential networks. Not to mention all the developments in the Jeffrey Epstein case, who also turned out to be someone deeply involved with the Hollywood crowd. And of course, Ricky Gervais also found a way to fit that into his speech.
Spoiler alert, season 2 is on the way. So in the end, he obviously didn't kill himself, just like Jeffrey Epstein. Shut up. I know he's your friend, but I don't care.
That was the whole speech. He would start talking about something serious and always found a way to turn it into a joke, always with some uncomfortable truth. He also took a shot at Prince Andrew, who was also involved in Epstein's pedophilia reign. He also gave an honorable mention to the abusive priests. He was totally determined to expose the hypocrisy that reigns not only in Hollywood, but also in the world of the powerful. People, to show how they keep hiding behind ideologies, fake smiles, and pretty speeches, while behind the scenes they do everything to keep their positions and their privileges, rubbing it in everyone's face there that no matter what they try to show us, in the end, we know that money is always in charge. And, to illustrate this, he starts by praising a new series that Apple launched. The crowd applauds and the camera quickly focuses on the chief executive officer of Apple, Tim Cook. Judging by the look on his face, it is. He probably already expected that nothing good was coming. I just don't think he imagined it would be this much. Because the next part is where he starts taking shots at everyone. And it's probably the part of his speech that made the most people uncomfortable.
Apple roared into the television game with a superb drama about the importance of dignity and doing the right thing, made by a company that runs sweatshops in China. You say you're woke, but the companies you work for, Apple, Amazon, Disney, if Islamic State of Iraq and Syria started a streaming service, you'd call your agent, wouldn't you? So if you do win an award tonight, don't use it as a platform to make a political speech, right? You're in no position to lecture the public about anything. You know nothing about the real world. If you win, right? Come up, accept your little award, thank your agent and your God, and fuck off.
Yeah, cool. The guy took down Hollywood executives, condemned powerful figures. He exposed all the dirt behind the scenes of that world without fear. But even so, there was something really strange behind all of this that I couldn't get out of my head.
I'm Ricky Java, thank you.
Why does the film industry give a microphone, not just any microphone, but the main microphone, the host's microphone, to someone who's going to expose their wounds live? Wouldn't that be biting the hand that feeds you? Wouldn't that be shooting yourself in the foot? Were they naive and didn't know that Ricky Gervais was capable of making a speech like that? That hypothesis doesn't even exist, especially because that kind of speech was no surprise to anyone. There, Ricky Gervais is known for his trademark biting humor, which often crosses the line. And besides, this wasn't the first time he hosted the show, it was the 5th. And for those who argue that this time was different, that this was his last time hosting, that he didn't care anymore. And that's why he showed up completely at ease with a beer in his hand, saying whatever he wanted. Just take a look at what he did in the other editions, always with a beer in his hand, always making people uncomfortable, with sharp and heavy jokes about people in the industry.
The Catholic Church is furious about the film because it exposes the fact that 5% of all their priests have repeatedly molested children and have been allowed to continue working without punishment. Roman Polanski called it the best date movie ever.
He even, the first time he hosted the Golden Globes back in 2010, also said that it was his last time hosting, and that because of that, he had nothing to lose.
I'm not doing this again.
So hold on, what the hell is this? What's behind all this act? Well, to start answering that, we know how these events like the Golden Globes and any big award show are usually boring as hell, always predictable, with everything rehearsed, lots of politically correct speeches, everyone acting cool, with fake smiles everywhere, and the audience is already used to it and even bored by it. But when an event like this defies expectations and surprises everyone, it stands out from the usual commercial vibe. And honestly, no one fits that role better than Ricky Gervais. That grabs attention and makes the speech go viral. The event gets huge coverage, makes headlines around the world, and gains relevance. It's just like that famous saying, there's no such thing as bad publicity. It's the classic talk bad about me, but talk about me. When Jim Carrey won the Golden Globe in 2016, for example, he also broke expectations. In his speech, he didn't come with that cliched talk about human rights or social awareness. He criticized the industry and the way they treat awards, and the effect of that was more buzz, more engagement, and more relevance for the event. And don't think that this makes Gervais or Jim Carrey mere accomplices. here, as if they do this just to get attention, bring in more audience, and strengthen the system itself. I truly believe that they are expressing themselves sincerely, letting out their frustrations with all of that. No matter how noble their intentions or how much Gervais made things awkward, leaving celebrities and powerful people unsure where to hide, or how much he stirred up the masses, in practice he's nothing more than a modern-day court jester. And I say this because when we go back to the original figure of the court jester, back in the medieval power structure, he wasn't just some undercover rebel who parachuted in, totally infiltrated in these elite events. On the contrary, he was kept, fed, and protected by the king himself. In other words, he only existed because the system allowed it, which doesn't mean he was a fake, nor that his criticisms were staged. But even without meaning to, they ended up becoming an essential piece for maintaining power, right? That might sound a bit controversial, doesn't it? If someone gets on stage mocking those in power and exposing their flaws and secrets, that should weaken those at the top, right? In theory, yes, it makes sense, but if it were that simple, why do you think so many powerful people throughout the centuries insist on hiring them and give a voice to someone who's going to speak badly about them in public? What very few people understand is that giving a voice to these court jesters is a meticulous power strategy. Because when the very holder of power gives permission for criticism to happen within their space under their rules, the criticism stops being an uncontrollable threat. The criticism.
The Hollywood foreign press have warned me that if I insult any of you, or any of them, or offend any viewers, or cause any controversy whatsoever, they'll definitely invite me back next year as well.
You try to completely repress any criticism, any dissatisfaction, any discontentment. You are in no way eliminating the problem. You are just pushing it under the rug. Because all the resentment, frustration, and tension continue to accumulate in the backstage. And without an escape valve, inevitably, at some point, they will explode. Now, when you allow a calculated dose of transgression, a criticism here, a mockery there, a speech of these courageous, televised in front of everyone, you end up administering this energy. It's like the difference between completely closing the valve of a pressure cooker or releasing the steam little by little. While in the first case, the risk is an explosion. In the second, you keep the pressure under control. And in any environment of power, there will always be pressure. And that's why the best thing to do is to know how to manage it. If we take a closer look, this strategy has been repeating itself for centuries in our society, even if we don't notice it. For those who don't know, the word carnival comes from the Latin carne levare, and it means to abstain from meat. It's connected to the period of Lent, when the Christian tradition enters a phase of fasting and restriction. And carnival happens right before that. And that's why it's the time to let loose, to go overboard, drink, party, and lose control. It's like this is the moment for one last collective blowout before discipline comes back into play. And this has been happening since the medieval era. During carnival, hierarchies were inverted. The king could be mocked, the church was ridiculed, and lack of modesty was celebrated. The world was turned upside down for a while, but then everything went back to its place. And of course, if we look at it, that's not very different from what we're used to seeing today in our own carnival. Different times, different cultures, but essentially, we're talking about the same thing, power itself allowing a bit of blasphemy. To avoid an uncontrolled explosion, the masses release their repressed energy and let off steam, without posing any risk or threat to power. And this is, without a doubt, one of the most sophisticated and least noticed maneuvers of mass control that exist. By the way, for those who are interested, I developed a complete series where I talk a lot about this and present various mechanisms of mass control. It's an entire series about power, where I dove into the most controversial, dark, and forbidden topics, covering everything about manipulation, control, seduction, and human nature. In the link that's appearing in the corner of the screen and in the description, I'm making a segment of one of the episodes available for you to watch completely for free. But going back, this strategy is very effective and only works because the masses can't see beyond. They can't look past the facade. It's like a scene from Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, where the trio tries to uncover secrets hidden by Hogwarts. And at a certain moment, they enter a secret room and come face to face with a gigantic three-headed dog. They're terrified, get scared, and run away from there. And later, people talking about the subject, while Hermione, the wisest of the three, quickly realized the scary creature was guarding something important. Ronnie Weasley is a true representative of the masses. He simply didn't get what was going on. He can't stop yelling, letting his emotions take over. And because of that, he can't see anything beyond the creature.
What do they think they're doing? Keeping something like that locked up? In a school? You don't use your eyes, do you? Didn't you see what it was standing on? I wasn't looking at its paws. I was more worried about the heads. It had 3. It was standing on a trapdoor. It wasn't there by accident. It's guarding something.
Well, that's the effect caused by Gervais' speech. Everyone gets completely hypnotized and moved by what was said, goes around saying that he exposed it, like he spoke the truth. Most of them let themselves be carried away by their emotions. It's just that while everyone is focusing on the fool, mocking the king, realizing that all of this is being protected, almost no one notices that even after all this exposure, the structure remains intact there. After all, if we analyze it coldly, nothing that Gervais said there was really secret, nothing was new information. They were scandals that had already been reported and hypocrisies that had already been commented on, that were already well known. He just rubbed it in the faces of those who most deserved to hear it. And, as satisfying as that is in practice, the feeling of revelation was much greater than the revelation itself. And that's exactly why I say that Ricky Gervais served as a modern-day court jester. Because after stirring up the masses, after everyone vents their anger at seeing the elite singled out and feeling a taste of victory, the next day, you know how it is. The studios keep operating as usual, the corporations keep making profits, the directors keep producing, and the machine keeps turning exactly as before. That's it. Stay fed, do your job. Drugs.